to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, we are powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. We want to thank you all for joining us here on a very special Father's Day edition as we go live here and in living color on Sunday afternoon. Of course, I am Never Wrong, Nick Bull. So happy you have found us. Episode 199. More on 200 later, but we got 199 to tackle first. Couldn't do this without my tag team partner. We are the co-champs of the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Championship Network. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard. CZ. Wiz, how you doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited. We got another first-time guest coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Nick, before I hit the live button and we had our guest in to chat for a second, I didn't like the way, because I'm going to mention that QR code that's in the corner again for our For Frequency's Sake podcast network, Toys for Tots League. I'm going to change things up a little bit and make it a little more friendly, so that's not hovering over your face the whole time. I'm gonna zoom us out, I think, for the next couple of months while we're promoting that.
Oh, that's awful nice of you.
Thank you for looking out for me.
Thank you.
I mean, you are the scissors to my steak, so I don't want to hide your pretty face.
You can't. How are people going to buy if they can't see this face?
That's very true.
No, very true. No, that's fine. Actually, it didn't bother me. Actually, it really didn't bother me. I know it probably bothered you more than it bothered me. So that's whatever you feel is fit.
I like this a little better at this point, so maybe we'll change it up again. We'll see.
Enough of us yammering, Booker
yes.
Man. You got a guest for us this week. I'm excited for this.
I do. We know him mostly from SCW Pro, former tag team partner and tag team champion of Tigre Amore. That is in the past if you're an SCW Pro fan, because he is now part of the Chosen. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all things wrestling. Let's bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio, Casey Jax. Casey, how you doing today, buddy?
I was doing great until you brought up that absolute mass deadbeat Tigre Amore.
My apologies.
Are we new here?
Casey, let me apologize. This is the guy that's got to bring up everything from the past, whether it was good or bad. I probably should have told him not to say that. I apologize for my partner.
Bring me in one shy of episode 200, like I don't even matter. I don't understand what we're doing here.
Hey, he's
other way, Nick.
He's the booker. This reverse thing. He's the booker. Take it up with him.
Jokes aside, fellas, thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be here. A happy Father's Day to all the dads watching, and let's get this show on the road.
We are on the road, Casey. I'm going to ask you what I ask every other first-time guest that comes here onto the show. Why pro wrestling? What was it that caught you and made you keep coming back?
Honestly, I think to take it all the way back, it goes into my love for video games. I think my introduction to professional wrestling was through playing the N64 with my older brother. We would play Royal Rumble mode, WCW NWO Revenge.
Yes.
All the time. And that was my introduction. And I wouldn't end up actually watching the show until I was around like 12, 13, talking like 2009, which, for most lifelong fan, feels pretty late.
Let me ask
and
you mentioned the N64 playing the games. Who was your go-to character, and did it change once you started watching the shows?
Oh God. Well, honestly, again, it was Royal Rumble mode, so you just you get to hop onto whatever character was in. I remember always loving the Giant. And we'd always do this little bit whenever La Parka would come out with his trash can, that always felt unfair. And then I didn't know any of the controls, so my brother would just hop on and start doing his taunt, which was, his whole 3-minute dance.
Man, you jog a lot of memories. You're right. Whenever you got eliminated, you would be the next person in. That was such a cool thing about it. I mean, that takes me back to my college days.
Yeah.
Video.
I think if I had to pick one character that I thought was super cool, Ultimo Dragon in that game. I've always been a big luchador guy. Excuse me. They were just cool,
Casey, how long was it from when you played that N64 to when you turned around and started watching the product and getting really invested? You talk about the luchadors. That was a big selling point for me as a fan of WCW. Not necessarily a fan of maybe their upper card, but I loved their middle card. I loved the luchadors. I loved the guys like Regal and Malenko and Fit Finley and all that. So what did that transpire? Did that draw you into the lucha side on WCW things when you were watching it as well?
Well, that's the thing. So the funny thing about it is, I have never watched an episode of WCW. Never.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen clips, but you've never sat down and watched a full episode.
No.
Wow.
I've went and tried to obviously with the network, I can go and do all that retroactively. It just hasn't really hit my radar quite yet.
Sure.
There's I'm still there. There's 3 lifetimes worth of wrestling on the internet that you can go through, and I have to pick and choose, what I can really make the most use out of. And it's obviously no disrespect to WCW. It changed. There are people still who talk about how they don't watch wrestling because WCW isn't on the air anymore. It's just, again, I didn't come from a family that watched wrestling, so it was outside of that when I was a kid.
So what was that moment, that deciding factor for you that said, okay, I have to do this?
I was 26. 3 years ago, watching, AEW had been around for a couple years at this point, and I was watching guys like Darby Allin and Jack Perry, guys around my age, maybe a little bit older, on national TV, winning championships, being recognized around the world, and I just excuse me, God, sparkling water is a bad choice.
I thought you were getting emotional there for a second.
God, no. No, we'll get there. We'll get there. But it was in that moment that I just looked at what I was doing, and I was just well, shit. If I'm going to do it, I'm running out of time. Basically, it was very much an early midlife crisis, so to speak. I was just fuck, I'm getting old.
Now you're in Dubuque, correct?
Correct.
So does that what swayed your decision to come down to Davenport and train at Black and Brave?
Honestly, that was I'll say a happy accident, because once I started researching, it became clear immediately. It's I can be trained by one of the best workers today, in Seth Rollins, right in my backyard, basically. It became a no-brainer. It wasn't swayed until I started doing actual research.
That's fair. What were some of your other choices? What are the top 3? If it hadn't been Rollins, where would you have gone?
Oh man, if I couldn't go to Black and Brave, then I likely would have found my way. I probably would have tried getting my way down to Flatbacks. Or Jesus, I don't even know, to be honest. Because there are other options. I've met, several other very talented people who've come out of like the Impact Forge. Actually, I think those are two different. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know what I would have gone to.
And of course, finding the Black and Brave. Of course, you've been a big part of SCW Pro for a couple of years, which that's, like I said, how we've gotten introduced to you. But I've seen you in Zawa. I've seen you. I don't think you wrestled the show that I saw you at up in Waterloo for APW, but I know you were present there at one point. What is it? If I don't stumble over my words and my brain just doesn't freeze on me.
It's early, brother. It is early.
Do you have a favorite spot that you like to go? Is there a particular promotion or a particular town that just gravitates more towards you than others?
Oh man, it's not a burial by any means, but like SCW is obviously like the home to me, because that's just like where everything started. It's
right.
Like on top of it, obviously being the place where I broke in, in Dubuque, like I never had opportunities to see like independent wrestling, even when SCW ran here, just because I was working like a bartending gig, so my weekends were pretty stacked. So SCW, like through training with Black and Brave, was my introduction to seeing independent wrestling live. So like it on multiple levels is home to me.
Absolutely, I understand that. I consider it home as well, even though I haven't been there for a couple of months. Just life happens. But I used to. You probably don't know this. This was well before your time there. I used to ring announce for them back. Good Lord, it's been 12 years now, I think.
Wow.
But I enjoyed it. I wish I hadn't left, but at the same time, I had other priorities that were more precedent than ring announcing at the time. But no, that's awesome. And SCW really is a home for a lot of people like myself, because it's just such a family environment. Everybody who works there, everybody that I've met through there, just such great people. I can't think of anyone in particular who I would talk bad about off the top of my head,
Yeah.
We're joined now by Casey Jacks, episode 199, the Card Subject to Change podcast by the fan for the fan. So happy you're with us. Casey, if you were to be asked, who do you draw from inspiration-wise, whether it's, through the character or through what goes on in the ring with you, who are you looking to? Who do you draw from? Who are some influences for you in that aspect?
It's funny actually, because I recently kind of stumbled upon the analogy of trying to treat it like fucking bear with me on this one. Like kind of treating it like a Pokemon team, because you see like the Pokemon trainers like have like their core like six team of six that kind of like they draw their aesthetic from. And I try and find a similar like way to that. It's not completely fleshed out, but I try and draw from people like, in no particular order, people like Chris Jericho and Edge, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, obviously, Jeff Hardy, and like Kenny Omega. Those are like my like bread and butter. These are the guys that are most entertaining for me to watch. This is a style that I like, and I draw a lot of inspiration from those.
And many of those names,
all those guys you mentioned, well respected,
yes,
well known for their in-ring work, and none of those guys are doing anything so outlandish that you can't draw from them. So those are great. Yeah. Those are great names you came up with. I'm like, boom, you just rattled them off like Hey, those all could be at the top level, no order or anything. Those are all top names from this business. So absolutely.
And quite a few are, their adaptability is fantastic. Jericho, Edge, Rollins, they've been able to modify and mold themselves into what needs to be current and keep themselves relevant. I love that. Which you're doing in a way yourself right now. I want to talk to you first of all. I've watched a couple of your promos recently. The word Rocknificent has come up. Talk about what it means to be Rocknificent. I got to know what that means.
Yeah, I'm always down to learn new stuff.
It's the magnificent rock and roll lifestyle, brother. You gotta go out there and show people that you personify excellent rock and roll.
I love it. And then, of course, you here in our home at SCW Pro, you have gone a different direction, and you are now reborn and hallowed. To quote the name of the episode here, talk about how joining the Chosen came about.
It was, to go behind the scenes a little bit. Tigre Amore is taking some time away, just to I'll for personal reasons that I'll let him choose whether or not he wants to disclose. Nothing super terrible or anything, but again, it's his life. And I had brought up the idea of, hey, we've dedicated a year to putting this tag team over, putting it together. It would be kind of a shame if we, didn't utilize that in some way, shape, or form. So it kind of just flowed naturally into that. They put us into a little program with the Chosen, and again, it was just one of those. Yeah, you know what? We can make this work this way. Should they want to, should abandon us? So we need to add more muscle, basically, in the form of blue-haired little screamer, Casey Jax.
That's a T-shirt idea there. Add a little muscle, blue-haired, screaming Casey Jax.
Yeah.
So what has it been like going from that well-liked tag team to now being part of that that resented top group?
It's been a challenge. It has certainly been a challenge because I've I don't have any shortage of experience working heel. Just about every other place that that I've stopped into has asked me to do that, but not to it's kind of coming across that boundary of, how do I put this, being unlikable is pretty easy for just about anyone if they put their mind to it, but doing so in a way that you're also bringing esteem to the group you're a part of is a different challenge. It's not as easy just to go out there and be goofy and slip on a banana peel so people people laugh at you and boo you. You have to carry yourself like a main eventer, pretty much same day.
That's the biggest challenge, is going from how you carry yourself just overnight to immediately. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting perspective, because you always hear about people turning and joining a group, but you don't realize how fast of a transition they have to go through from dropping everything they know to now embracing this new. So no, yeah. I like that explanation. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, very much so. Which do you prefer? Do you have more fun being the bad guy, or do you have more fun being the face?
I'm still figuring a bunch of stuff out, but I think I definitely have more fun being a babyface. Just because I think selling comes much easier to me than like trash talk, and that's pretty much like the two skills that set those apart.
Right.
So I think I prefer being a babyface. It's just like, I find it to be easier.
We're joined by Casey Jacks here, episode 199 of the Card Subject to Change podcast. Casey took a little offense to that he was episode 199. We've gotten over that. Of course, we're powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Casey, you're sitting here talking, and I'm looking at you, and I am jogging my memory of a guy in the past who I think you would have a great program with. Former ECW wrestler, and this is no knock, Spike Dudley. Did you ever get into Spike Dudley stuff? Because I think you would be like a natural muse to Spike. You guys maybe got along at one point and broke up, and then you guys would be the greatest of rivals.
That's interesting. I've gotten the Spike Dudley comparisons mostly
because you're similar in size. Everybody rooted for Spike Dudley when he was fighting the Dudleys because he was such an underdog. But to have somebody his size that would be his muse, the guy who always got him, I just got to thinking, give me Spike Dudley back in the day and Casey Jacks.
Spike Dudley and Finn Balor are the same height. I just want to point that out.
For
so
sure.
You could have made any comparison, but just say it. I'm. This is body shaming, Nick. That's
body shaming. I'm telling you what, Spike Dudley's one of the toughest SOBs
I've
ever seen in a ring.
Well, no, and I think the only disagreement I have with you is like working a program with a guy similar to your size. Like, it can be fun. You can do a lot of great work, but the best utilization for guys that size is to put them up against something bigger than themselves. Like I think it was one of the clips of mine that went around on the Spike Dudley comparison was the Prestige Rumble this year. I got in there and all of a sudden found myself in between Mason Beck and Bruce Hamilton. Those some big some bitches. And Beck just picks me up and just goes, "Hey, look out!" Looks over at Bruce and just like a small child, like I was nothing. And that's truly where the magic in working with someone of that size really comes with. I feel like.
Okay, editorial freedom here. Not Spike Dudley. Who would you compare? Who would be an ideal match for you with similar body type? You mentioned a Finn Balor's the same size as Spike Dudley. Not Spike Dudley. Who would you want to be in there with or have a program with?
Oh my god! If we're going current WWE dream match, like Finn Balor has got to be up there. If we're going somewhere on the independent level, wouldn't mind getting in there with a current Dreamwave champion, Connor Hopkins. I think
okay.
Him and I. He's been doing phenomenal work recently for Dreamwave. And that's one guy I'd like to get in there with in the near future.
When Nick mentioned Spike Dudley in comparison, my mind went a different direction. I could see you getting mixed up with Brian Kendrick.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I think that'd be just his uniqueness, because he's similar builds, but he brings a different kind of style to the ring, in my opinion, and I think that'd be a fun match to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I was very fortunate to be on a card with Brian Kendrick. It was Midwest Championship Wrestling out of shite. Forget where they're based out of. I can't quite remember where the show was, but yeah, it was a very good show. I got to talk to him for a minute. He was very, very nice. Didn't have a lot for me because, well, I went out there to politely hand the belt over to Land Shark, Conan Lycan. But so it was as you can imagine with a guy his size, match was quick. Pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is absolutely something that I would love to do. He had a very phenomenal main event with Nasty Nick Nolan that night. And yeah, just very, very much enjoyed sharing a locker room with him.
If we're playing the Styles Make Fights game and we're doing a little fantasy booking like we are, who are some of the bigger guys that are out there that you wouldn't mind stepping in the ring with?
Bigger as in like bigger name, or bigger as in like bigger, they're enormous?
Size-wise is what I was thinking, but let's go both.
No, definitely. I need to have a run back with Bruce Hamilton. Just
I think the crowd I think the fans need that.
Him and I got to have a fun little match at Zawa last year. That didn't necessarily go the way I wanted, just because I'm still new. I'm still learning a lot about being a heel. They had me healed there, so it could have been much better than it was. So I would love to do that again. And again, like, Bruce is just such an awesome dude when you take the time to talk to him.
We had him on earlier in the year. You look at him and you don't want to meet him in a back alley, but you talk to him and he's one of the greatest guys that I've met out there.
just a dude using the life he dedicated to powerlifting to like leave a better life for his family. Like, it's truly like, doesn't get much more wholesome than that.
Absolutely. We're still doing some fantasy booking here, CZ, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about guys you'd want to go against. You had what you call a deadbeat tag team partner. Who would be your ideal tag team partner out there? If you could have one out there.
I've been fantasy booking a tag team with myself and Dominic Zagreus, who just got featured on Seth Rollins' socials, because he's been doing the absolute Lord's work in putting over a lot of us as his students on his socials, which has been really awesome. But another Dubuque guy. Him and I have very similar styles. I think him and I, if it ever came around to it, could go on a tear in some tag team wrestling. But right now, both of us are obviously very, very focused on establishing ourselves as singles guys.
Do you have a potential tag team name?
I thought the Plague sounded cool.
I was going to go with the Rocknificent Express, but
nah, I don't. I gotta put the Rocknificent away for a while.
Okay. I'm going to ask something
I like that.
I like it too. I think it's great. I just thought of a question I've never asked before. Since we're in the realm of fantasy booking, you're familiar with old school Survivor Series matches, correct? Okay. So whether it's Survivor Series or now what they're doing currently, War Games, past, present, anyone, nothing is off limits. Put together your Survivor Series or War Games team. Who's getting in the ring with you?
Team Casey Jacks, huh? Would you prefer it to be more independent guy? Because, again, I already gave you my team of 6 for my inspiration. So, so I'll keep this.
It's whoever you want, man.
I'll keep this at an independent level. Get me My first round pick is gonna be the Shug, Shane Hollister. I'm sure you're familiar.
Okay.
Get me JT Energy in there. Get me myself. I'm gonna include myself in my own team. I think that's a good.
You have to. You're the captain.
Yeah, you're the captain. You got to be in there.
From there, get me Eric Eznite.
Okay.
I don't know how him and Shug are gonna work together, but they've coexisted before. And get me. Oh man, this is hard. This is really hard, but get me. Oh no. Give me Dion Roosman. Give me the Iceberg.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good. I think that'd be fun. That's a hell of a team.
Well, the promos leading up to that match would be great with all those guys. And they all got to be in the ring together, coexisting. Oh. Yeah, I mean, they're going to tear each other apart before they tear the other team apart. This is great, man. That's great.
Well, and you know what? While we're fantasy booking, the only world where the only world where I think all those guys coexist is Merrick Brave takes his promoter cap back off and goes on an authority tear through SCW. He's just goes on a reign of terror as the authority. So you get the only way that like guys like that coexist is with taking on a threat bigger than their issues.
Correct.
Which I can just see that Merrick Brave team. Mason Beck, Bruce Hamilton would probably be there. I could see him bringing in Manders.
Oh God, yeah.
Which, by the way, Rob Kammerer, I know you're paying attention. Suck it. You're sitting in your hot tub full of pizza rolls, and we're sending Manders after your ass just because I brought him up.
Send for the Manders.
I would think for the fifth member, you have Merrick carrying around a cardboard cutout of Seth. and the threat's always there that he's going to come, but he's always there as a cardboard cutout. I think.
Oh, man.
Oh, we got off the rails here, guys.
That rules.
That's what it's supposed to do, right?
Just a little.
We're here with Casey Jacks on the Card Subject to Change podcast, of course. The podcast by the fan for the fan. We're powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Casey, current, I know you're busy on your weekends and being booked and whatnot, but what current product, do you keep up with? Go out of your way to watch or don't miss?
Just WWE, really.
Yeah.
My Monday nights, they're usually my only day off. So like my Monday nights become pretty sacred. I try and catch SmackDown whenever I can. I usually am wrestling during most of premium live events, so like I'm big Monday Night Raw guy.
And do you like the fact it's on Netflix now? I mean, I think the president rules. I think Raw on Netflix is just blown expectations away.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got no complaints. I don't have to have a TV subscription to catch Monday Night Raw. Like, it rules.
Right.
I agree. Is there a show that you can just go back in your free time and just watch over and over again?
Like wrestling wise?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I had to pick one, probably like Mania 25.
Excellent choice. Michaels and Taker. That's one of my favorite. I'm a Shawn Michaels guy. Nick will tell you he's a Bret Hart guy. That's why we can coexist because we're on opposite sides of the fence. I respect Bret. But Shawn, 24 and 25 are two of my all-time favorite matches for Shawn Michaels. Ric Flair, Undertaker.
Oh my God! And the follow-up match too at 26 was a banger too. Like
it was. It wasn't as good as 25, but it was still excellent.
The one problem, like I know they wanted the title to go on last at 25 with Orton and Triple H. And they got it right at 26 by having Taker and Michaels go on last. But Taker and Michaels should have went on last at 25.
Yeah. Oh man, both those guys, I think, just have such a knack for stealing the show one way or the other. Like, I think no matter where you put them on the card, they were going to have that same match, and everyone was still going to be, talking about it. I don't think that one,
As an old head, I remember when those guys couldn't stand each other and couldn't get along. And then, Taker's always been Taker. Sean had his demons, and Sean's, a better person now, or put the mistakes behind him. But the ride they take us on, 25 and 26, hell, they were in the first Hell in a Cell together at Bad Blood in 97 when Kane debuts. Those guys have the history. And one of the greatest gimmicks of all time against the greatest in-ring performer of all time. And they didn't disappoint. I like 25 a little bit better, but 26 was a banger too. Really good show. I bet if WWE had to do it over, they would have put that on last at 25.
Yeah, because I think, what was it? Triple H and Orton went on last at that one.
Yes.
And, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was fine. Triple H and Randy Orton, both fantastic performers in their own right. Neither of them are Shawn Michaels or Undertaker. Correct.
It's that mentality that I think has kind of evolved a little bit, but not quite enough, where the main event has to be the world title match. I don't think that needs to be the case. I really don't. I think if a match is bigger than the title, then that's what needs to top the show.
I think for some shows, the only show that I can't imagine why you would ever do that is for a WrestleMania level show, because otherwise, if there's a match bigger than your title at your biggest show of the year, what is everyone fighting for all year? What are we doing if no one cares the most about the title? That's what most gimmicks, inspiration is I am this, and this is why I'm chasing the title.
Right. No, and I agree with that. But, there are just some instances I'll go back to the last AEW pay-per-view. I thought that Ospreay had the bigger match. It was him and Hangman, right, yep. Nick? I don't know why I blanked on that. I knew that. I thought they had the bigger build and the bigger match. There wasn't a main title. The main title wasn't defended on that show, but they had that cluster F of a match, the Anarchy in the Arena, but Ospreay and Hangman were the bigger draw. And I think that was an instance where the champion did not need to be in the main event. They did it right.
Well, and even then too, that also had super big stakes to it as well because I think that was the Owen Cup final, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, now that I think about it, didn't Shawn and Taker go on last at
26?
26?
Yes, they did. I said at 26. Yep. I think, yeah, they did.
Huh. So you know what? I stand wildly corrected in my point.
26.
Yeah.
Let's see. What were the title matches at 26? Cena and Batista.
Was it Edge and Jericho?
Was it Edge and Jericho?
Oh, hold on. We're at computers. We have technology.
We do.
I'm pulling up
we got our guys back in the truck. Looking them up.
26.
Give me the card. All right, main event.
See who gets here faster.
It was Edge and Jericho.
Okay. Edge and Jericho and Batista and Cena, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. Wow.
Maybe I know what I'm watching this afternoon, you know?
Dude, right?
Maybe I'm going to throw on 26 now. I mean, I'm going to be selfish. Part of the reason why we have this show, I selfishly tell CZ, I want to bring guys on here and know what they're watching or maybe what they watch, and maybe I'll go watch it, you know? So I'm always looking for something new to watch. But
hey,
maybe
make the show a little longer. We'll do watch-alongs. Like
we could do watch-alongs.
Just like a match.
Matches, and I would do matches. I think it'd be hard to do a whole show, but you never know. I've never done one, so.
I don't know how I feel about 2.5, 3 hours watching an entire pay-per-view.
No, it'd have to be like a match. Yes, I picked the Iron Man match between. I can't think of an Iron Man match actually, but you can.
Sean and Brett. 12, right?
Okay, good. So that did happen. Because that's what I was thinking, but I couldn't for the life of me remember.
What was the other big one that was on SmackDown? Was that Brock and
Angle had an Iron Man match.
Oh my God!
And that was if you guys watched the Angle documentary on Peacock?
No.
I have. It's been a while.
Casey, I can't recommend it enough. You will realize the guy is a machine among men and absolutely different, but wrestled that match. His sister died that day and then wrestled that match that night. That Iron Man match. It's part of that documentary, but that documentary is amazing on the Kurt Angle one. But I digress. What's Casey Jack's got to do in the next year to be more known? Is it getting yourself out there? Is it getting the bookings? What do you have to do next? What are you wanting to do next in your wrestling career?
I think the short-term goals are break into another state market. Because in the 2 years I've found myself in Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin. So just broadening that reach. I would also like to expand my reach through different platforms. I stream on Twitch. I stream video games because again, big video game guy. I'm trying. I want to solidify a schedule and grow that platform just as a way that just find these streams of reach that I can also use to supplement income and again make this a business. Success for me is just making this a business. Obviously, any worker's goal is to get to WWE. I don't need to. I would love to, but I don't need to be happy with what I'm doing. I'm already here. So if I can do what any artist, anyone with a creative endeavor can do and make this my full-time gig through just having it be run as a business, that is success to me.
You mentioned, I know we had talked about video games early on. You mentioned streaming game. What games are you playing?
It's mostly League of Legends. That's I've played the game since it came out. It's a free-to-play MOBA if you're not familiar. And it's also, I find it the easiest to grow an actual platform off of. It's very popular in the streaming community. It's really easy to convert new viewers. I'm like a little loser, go into the game chat and just plug my stream every game I load into. But I like a lot of games. Me and the girlfriend have been playing a lot of Terraria, which is like a 2D sandbox adventure game.
My nephews absolutely love that game. I'm familiar.
Yeah. And I'm trying to pick Elden Ring back up. Because the new DLC just came out, and I realized I haven't beat the base game yet. So I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah. I play a lot of different styles of games. I love fighting games. I love RPGs. Obviously, MOBAs are good. Just keep me away from sports games and driving games.
How about the wrestling? How about the wrestling games compared to what they were on the Nintendo 64?
It's nice, but they definitely peaked like several years ago, and I think you know what games I'm talking about. We're talking about WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2009, brother.
Excellent choice. Yes,
the 2K games are good though. The 2K games are good. I'm not gonna sit and hate on them, except for like 2K20 suck. Like,
no, that was the worst of the worst.
But they're getting better.
The evolution of the graphics in those games, though, I'll take the PlayStation over to Nick's house, and Nick just is like, "Are we watching a show or are we playing a game?"
Yeah. So I really appreciated the AEW. I forget the name of the AEW game that came out, but I really appreciated it specifically for like them making it look like a video game again.
That I can agree with. Fight Forever was the name. I wasn't a big fan of the gameplay, but I can see where you're coming from. They made it feel more like a game and less like a sim.
I admittedly never played it, but I went and looked through a lot of content for it, and yeah, it looked fun. It looked definitely more like a party game, much like oh my god, WWE did that really hokey like arcade style wrestling game a while ago. I think it was called WWE All Stars, where that super cartoony, super jacked guys. The roster had like 10 characters in it. That was a lot of fun.
I think the one thing I did enjoy about Fight Forever was they had the Anarchy in the arena mode, and it wasn't a match. It just was chaos. You could pick up like a football and hurl it at someone. You could get on a horse and run around the arena.
Hell yeah!
It was nuts. Casey, what is the?
You just wanted to be the cowboy, CZ.
What's that?
You just wanted to be the cowboy.
Well, always. I mean.
Casey, where can our fans find you on socials?
You mean you didn't plug them in the episode description, Nick?
We have you plug it on YouTube. We have you plug it on YouTube.
You can find me just about everywhere. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/realcaseyjax. I'm at casey.jax on Instagram. You can find me at CaseyJax on Facebook. You can find me at CaseyJax_top on X. I think that's it. CaseyJax on YouTube. What's my YouTube plug? Hold on. God,
and you get on us for not putting them in the description.
This shit down. I didn't know what you were gonna ask. Damn.
Yeah.
You can find me at realcaseyjax on YouTube. I have a couple of my matches up on there as well. Yeah. Anywhere you find me, don't be shy. I try and engage as much as possible. But as you can imagine, very busy.
If one of our viewers or listeners wants to come see you in person, where are you going to be in the next couple of weeks?
Next couple of weeks, it's all SCW, brother. We are full in our summer schedule, so you can find me this coming weekend in North Liberty at the Tin Roost Rumble. That following week will be the Iowa City Downtown Block Party. That will be can't miss. That is one of my favorite shows we do all year because there's always a ton of people. We're either outside the Angler Theater or inside, and it's just like it. Very rare you get shows bigger than it.
I haven't been to one because I don't like that big of a crowd, but I've seen pictures and just the stream of people around the ring. It looks like madness.
It's insane. It truly is insane.
We're gonna wrap things up here, but I've got one more question that I've been trying to ask more people. What's the best piece of advice that you have been given in your wrestling career so far?
slow down. It's always slow down. You truly, it gets very scary. Out, doing like nothing. And the reason I like that piece of advice is because it stretches beyond the ring, like you cannot
Absolutely.
rush where you're going in the ring or outside of the ring towards your goals. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. It is your life. Enjoy it. Slow down.
That is fantastic advice, and I that's an excellent way to kind of wrap things up here. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Casey, I know you were a bit jealous that we didn't bring you on for the 200th episode, but I'm going to tease next week's show because it's, in my opinion, a big one. It's a makeup episode. We had her scheduled for early May, and severe storms prevented her from being able to come on. But we've talked about it a little bit. I've been promoting it on socials. Next week for our 200th episode, we have Jeannie Bassone, the original Glow Girl Hollywood, coming on to talk about her book. Super excited. We got to chat with her last year at the Sandra Lee Memorial Car Show briefly to talk about her wrestling life. And now we're having her back on for a full episode. Nick, I can't wait.
Looking forward to it. Unfortunately, we had severe weather, a couple months back when this was scheduled. We got her back on here. I know Casey's a little offended, but that's why he's not.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Absolutely. Well, that is going to put a bow on this edition of Card Subject to Change. Casey, thank you so very much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun talking with you, and I hope to be able to check back in with you here in the next year or so, see where you're at.
Yeah, no. Again, thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure chatting with both of you, talking about this stupid little circus we love called wrestling.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Look.
Thank you again, and for everybody tuned in, whether you're new to the podcast, whether you've been with us forever, thank you. We appreciate you. We cannot do this without our fans. This has been Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan, for the fan, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, for my tag team partner, Never Wrong Nick Bull. I am the Wizard CZ. We'll see you midweek for the kickout, and right back here next Sunday for episode 200.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake